All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is January 22nd, 2026. My name, Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you all my paying subscribers. Let's take a look at how I made 11K on a 128K account using only 10% of my account value. That would be 12,800 for my risk. All right, let's take a peek at how the markets did today. Start off with a 10-minute trend. All right, let's start off with the 10-minute trend. And on the 10-minute chart, we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour chart, we have a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Let me make sure that's right. Let's go over here. Yep, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, still in a downtrend. We have not made a higher high. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's still bullish, but in a downtrend that's not moving down, it's actually moving up. Okay, that's the daily chart. Weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend on SPY. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. 10-minute chart is 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. 2-hour chart, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Daily chart is still in a downtrend. We have not made the higher high. Still at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in a downtrend on QQQ. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM prints new all-time high yet again this week. Bullish. Here's the April low and in an uptrend on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. And Diamond Dow puts in, I still see air. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross. Over the flat 17, top of quadrant 4, that's still bullish and in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at Stinker. All right, Stinker got a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17. Bottom of that's still down here in the neutral zone, so still in a downtrend, still neutral, and still in a downtrend on Stinker. Let's take a look at T2101. Okay, so the market moved up and participation increased today. Gotta love that. All right, that's a bullish sign. I like that a lot. Okay, T2122 spent the day in the overbought zone. How high did we get? Not quite to 99, so bullish today on the unweighted stocks. CT2122 spent the whole day in the overbought zone. Too bad the FNGU couldn't get the memo. Unfortunately, the mail wasn't working for some reason. T2123 new all-time highs, and we got a low. We're still in an uptrend here on T2123 15-minute chart. Still up over the rising 200 SMA. That's bullish. Bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. Still in an uptrend on T2123 15-minute chart. On the 3-bar chart, here's the April low. All right. This was the prior all-time high. This became the new all-time high after negating the head and shoulders pattern right here on that neckline. Okay, then we had to pull back to the same neckline, all right, making a higher low, and the bulls were inspired to make a higher high. So this is our new all-time high for T2123. So you can see it's at the top of quadrant 4 over the flat 200 SMA. That is bullish and still in an uptrend there on T2123 3-bar chart. Let's take a look at Stinker on the 15. Stinker on the 15 is still in an uptrend. We haven't made a lower low yet, so bullish gap up, held the bullish up. Well, there's a good sign right there. The bears failed to fill the gap. That's about the only thing that's good. And we held the higher ground up here for Stinker on the 15-minute chart. Still underneath the falling 200. Still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. And if we stick the quad lines on there from the all-time high, we're still down here in quadrant 1. Okay, so we're still bearish. But we're in a 15-minute uptrend because we made a higher high. Okay, so only two good things. We held the higher ground. The bears didn't fill the gap. And we made a higher high. So we're in an uptrend. Well, three things. Okay, all in all, we still got a whole lot of work to do for Stinker. All right, so that's it for today. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Okay, we'll start off with, let's take this out of the way. Take this out of the way. Start off with silver. Silver makes a new all-time high. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Doesn't get any better than that. Gold, new all-time high, bullish and in an uptrend. UNG, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the rising 17, underneath the 2025 high anchored VWAP. That'd be a 10-month, 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. Closing underneath that in the lower third. All right, still closing in the lower third. So they did make it up here, almost qualifying for neutral. So still bearish, but in an uptrend on UNG. Let's take a look at USO. USO got a lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap over the rising 17, over the downtrend line, but under the 4-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, that was set in 2022, right there. Looks like about July of, looks like June of 2022. So still underneath that. All right, so neutral, but it's still in an uptrend right there. Okay, on the trades today, not much to brag about. I mean, just a struggle all day. But we did get, let's take SPY. Let's take a peek at the 10-minute chart. All right, on the 10-minute chart, let's put the pre-market on there on the 10-minute chart. Okay, so we had consolidation over prior consolidation. So that was a bullish bias. Okay, we broke the base. All right, we came all the way back to test this area right here, which was the low side of the post-market from yesterday. We tested that area for, so that would be the yesterday's low post-market activity. We came all the way back to there. Notice we didn't gap fill, so we got a bullish gap today. All right, that did not get filled by the bears. So this morning I had a bullish bias, and of course got my butt handed to me with this big red candle down. Okay, but I bought the dip and was able to capitalize on the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right through here. All right, looking for a full gap fill, all right, from prior day's price action. See this gap down right here? We did not get the complete gap fill on this. All right, so price got up there, but missed the whole gap fill. Came all the way back. Looked like a test of low of day right here, and kind of a failure on the low of day test. So failure to make a lower low. You can see on the 10-minute chart, we had a 10-minute downtrend, which I was looking for a bounce right here at the opening print, right here at the VWAP line, and right here at the all-time high anchored VWAP. We finally got the bounce at the all-time high anchored VWAP near the prior low. Traded this in the last minutes to capture a few gains right there. For the options that I traded, we got these puts. I took a loss on those puts right there. I had puts from yesterday. And we gapped up this morning, and I was underwater on those puts, and I took a big hit, 4,700. On these calls, looking for price to continue going higher. Never went higher. Accumulated too much. Just barely squeaked out minus $298 on that. 692 calls. Again, on the 10-minute uptrend, buying the lows, selling the highs. Buying the lows and selling the highs of those option candles right there. Same thing on the 691 calls. Okay, buying the lows, selling the rallies on the 691 option, 693. Same deal, buying the lows, selling the highs of those option candles. And again on the 694, buying the lows, selling the highs of the option candles. Same thing on the 695 calls, buying the lows, selling the highs on those option candles there. Had some puts, again, took a big loss, $9 right there. And on these puts, I sold these against the underwater puts over there and only recaptured 224 on a put spread as the price went higher through there. That's it for me today. Okay, not really fun day other than the 10-minute uptrend right through here. 10-minute downtrend, not so much. I was just trying to bail out of what the ones that I had with a positive. That's really it. That's the only thing that kept me from switching to the 1 DTEs. Is I bought a basket this morning of calls, and that's it. Just trying to bail out with a break even or a positive on those calls right there. So that's it for me today, traders. I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. All right. Market's bullish. We went up and we're over to the right. That's a bull flag. All right. I'm looking for another measured move to the upside. How big is that measured move? Take it to there, and then we'll duplicate the box. Okay, that measured move takes us up to 702. Right there. Okay. So we're up and over to the right. So we're looking at a target of 702 by the end of the week or early next week. 702. Okay, traders, that's it. I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Maybe we get there tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe early next week. We'll see. We got one more day left. That's it. All right. Thank you, everybody.